Okay, so I just stopped at this field here, and you're gonna be amazed as to what this looks like. I'm quite amazed myself. We got about a half an inch of rain last night, which brought the hay that I planted through back up. So when you look at this, it's gonna look like I never even did anything with it. Ooh. Right there, that's a hole. That's an ankle breaker. Ouch. But anyways, as you can see, I have sprayed this. It's got Roundup on it. It's got the residual and the Roundup down, or the glyphosate. And you know, a lot of people are gonna be like, "There's no way that corn's gonna come up through there." But I know better. I know better. It's gonna come up through this, no problem. Problem is now that we've gotten some rain, and you just can't see the rows where the corn planter went, so it's a little difficult to find that particular spot or slot. But we're not really going to worry about that too much, because I think I got a slot right here, in which I do, I think. Oh, nope. I can't find one, darn it. Let me maybe, let's get out here just a little bit. Right here, it's really difficult to find them, but the corn is up right there. Tip of my finger, that's corn. Now, where the hell? It's going to be difficult for a while until this stuff starts to die down. The other field was a little better to look at. Here's one. Okay, so there's my corn right there. Right, there's my corn. I'm pretty certain there's another one right here. I just saw it. Where the heck is it? Doesn't matter. Oh, there it is. So, corn. It's gonna come up through this. See, corn, there it is. There's a nice one right there. It's coming. So the corn is up. It's coming up, coming through. As this grass, or biomass as they say, starts to die back, that corn will just continue to reach for the sun. There's plenty of fertilizer there, nitrogen fertilizer. As far as the P and K and the other elements, you're looking at it. All this biomass is what's going to feed this corn, or this crop of corn. There's corn, right? There. So for a few days it's going to be a little bit difficult to spot them, but not for long, because there's one, they're coming up. They're going to be good. I know when I sprayed it I was on the cusp of being too late for the residual, but yeah, they'll just keep fighting their way up through there, because corn comes up from the center and it unleaves. The leaves unfold, and as they unfold, if the lower leaves can't get a good foothold there, or they can't branch out, they just keep coming up through the center. So it doesn't matter if the lower leaves are beat up a little bit at the bottom, just as long as it continues to unfurl and grow. And I tell you, in 3 or 4 days this will all be dead. I know there's some people that say that it won't kill it because it's too thick, too much green. Well, there's a field over there where I planted the soybeans that are about 99% gone now. It's on the dead side of things. So pretty pleased with the way this is looking. Very pleased, actually. So if we get some sunlight towards the end of the week, this will all be, well, let's put it this way. By next Wednesday, it's Thursday today, by next Wednesday, I can almost guarantee that you're going to row that crop. You'll be able to look down the rows. I know you can look down the rows of the corn that I planted on corn, because if I can see it there and it's up like that, it's up over there as well. So that's just it's perfect as far as I'm concerned. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Now I'm just hoping that the glyphosate I put on at 2.5 quarts to the acre, which is pretty hefty, but that is what is required to take out fescue that is over 8 inches tall. So there you go, 20 gallons to the acre with napalm, and yeah, we're good to go. So I hope you stick with me on that one, because it's looking good. Now I do have a couple of things I'd like to talk about while I got you all's attention. Now I know 90% of the people here that watch my channel, probably 95% of people that watch my channel, understand that I'm kind of a jokester. I like to play and poke fun at things. But on a serious note here, you know, I know that I got some crap for my corn planter TikTok thing. Look, I would love to buy a new corn planter. I think they would be great to purchase one. But for the amount of acreage that I do, even if I went to 2,000 acres of corn, I probably would just buy another older piece of equipment and rebuild it, because I can do that with cash. You know, it doesn't take a note to, you know, I don't have to borrow money to do what I want to do, which is good if you ask me. Anytime you got to borrow money, you're making the banker money, you're not making yourself money. So looking at what Zach Johnson just went through with his John Deere corn planter, it just made me feel good that I can have a missed row and still have less aggravation and frustration than what he had or is having. I don't know. I think he's got it figured out now. There's sensors and vacuum sensors and airflow and all that stuff. I'd rather just have the old finger pickup with a belt that gets to the top of the seed tube and a seed drop, and you know, it can go like this in between. I don't have to have perfect singulation because I'm not trying to pay off a $500,000 piece of equipment or whatnot. But I have no animosity. I was poking fun at him just like a lot of people would. Not really seriously poking fun, just poking at him a little bit, because as silly as it is, if I have a failure with my corn planter, I will show you that. Just like Zach showed you his failures with his corn planter. And he's got a lot more corn to plant. As for Cole the Corn Star, I'm glad he listened to what I said in the one video that I made about that Cole the Corn Star opening. He has become a man. He's not a boy anymore. And, you know, there's an old saying, when I was a child, I acted like a child. But now that I'm a man, I will act like a man. Well, he's in his mid-20s now, so it's time to act like a man, and he needed somebody to kind of boost him in that direction. He didn't say anything bad about me saying that. It just was what it was. And here's my dad, and I think I'm going to grab him real quick. Bitch went too slow. Whoops. Know what that means, don't you? Back up, back it up, back it up. There goes Mr. Tim. There goes Tim, taking a load of hay. He's on trucking duty today. It really puts me short-handed without the help that I used to have. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like, well, you're such an asshole, that's why you don't have help. Well, that's not true. I should have treated my guys really well. And I still, you know, I still would, but just downsizing, not in ground, but downsizing on help, I guess. I'll work harder and longer and I'll be just fine. It's more money in my pocket by probably $100,000. Last year I spent $209,000 or $209,000 or $229,000 in labor, which was a lot of freaking money. And if I can put half of that back in my pocket, that's what the problem was right there. Okay, I'm going to shut this off and grab my boy. He's here. Alright, so I got problems. Not bad problems, just problems, you know. You know, when you have those things, it's like, you're just trying to get done, and of course nothing ever breaks when it sits in the field, right? Well, that's not entirely true. Nothing ever breaks when it's not being used is not true either. Things dry rot. They just seem to not function correctly when you need them to. That sort of a thing. This is just water. This is my rinse tank. Rinse-ate tank. So, yeah, no big deal. No. The thing is definitely broken. Okay. Definitely broken. Yeah, I think I got one of those. I think I got one of those. Hold on here, guys. Okay. Wow. Alright, so I'm gonna let you peek your head in here. I just moved everything in here. I'm probably just going to fasten it up so that it doesn't fall out onto the ground and I can get back to work. It was nice enough that I didn't have all of that nonsense here. Now, this is for one of the for the, what do you call it, pumps, the, piston pumps, and this one here I believe is specifically for the high pro, the high pro pump, centrifugal pump, not the piston pump. So I'm gonna have to get this replaced. I'll replace it. I'll just buy that piece there and put it back together again. I just got to pick up all my screws and giblets and stuff and make sure it all fits in there. I'm going to put this all back together, and then we will, more or less, just go right back to the field, hopefully, and finish putting this on it so I can get corn planted today. Yes, corn planted. There's some of you that think that it hasn't been a fun spring. It's been, we're down to the wire now, I guess. June tomorrow. Most weekends, most times it's the what do you call it? Weekend of the what do you call it? The Indianapolis 500 Memorial Day weekend. That's the end of planting for 99% of people. They just say, hey, you know what, it ain't worth planting after that. At least that's what that was the old rule of thumb. I think we got new varieties over those 116-day varieties that we used to have. But today I'll be putting in a 105. Technically, I guess it's still Memorial Day weekend. Still May. But anything else is just going to be... Wow. Yes, dear.
Can you sign into your app, whatever you call it?
You want me to sign into it?
Yeah, I need this. we need to use this.
I have a burning sensation in my right eye.
Oh no.
I have to get, it's sweat. It's nothing bad.
How about it's chemicals?
No, it's sweat. I'm going to chemically treat you in about a minute and a half. Anyway, do I need to sign in right now?
Yeah, now.
Okay, hold on. Let me shut my camera off.
Apple support app.
I'm going to try and put this thing on manual. Not going to work. I don't know. I got a feeling that the valve is backwards or something. It's supposed to be putting about 20 gallons to the acre on. I got a pretty strong blend here, but I need to be at 21 is where I want to be, and then I don't understand why it's doing what it's doing, but it shouldn't be doing what it's doing. Anyway, at least I'm going. How's that sound?
I know what you're gonna say. Okay, so
we ate too much.
I thought that's what you're gonna say.
No.
You always say, okay, so go ahead.
Okay, so we ate too much. Teresa force-fed me.
I don't force. Oh, nice logo. So nice. Who made that? So fancy.
Get an Amazon store going.
Ah.
So, yeah.
You just remind me to sit in the computer and figure that shit out on my own.
That's right.
I don't want to do it.
I don't care. Do it anyway. You're on the payroll. So this is what broke.
Did you get your wagon back?
I've glued it back together again, but the glue is not going to allow that to seal up. So I have this issue here. This is not the same.
Hey, no, you're gonna cut yourself with that wheel.
It's similar, but it's not the same.
Close enough.
No.
Hey.
Hey, that's a knife.
Hey.
Give me that. You trying to cut yourself, you ding dong?
You want to wipe your bike here?
Yes, please. Tap it.
Here, wipe your bike so you can ride.
So anyway.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
There's always something fun that goes on the farm. And that when this thing broke, I called up Hardy and I explained to them what I had. And they were like, okay. Actually, I called Binkley and Hurst, and they are Hardy dealers. So Hardy's a little bit of a pain in the ass to get parts from. They have different, what would you call it? You know what, I could probably just, you know what, I'm going to leave that on there.
Okay. Put it on the trash.
Are these all the same? Yeah.
You're welcome.
So they're difficult to have to get the parts because they have a really terrible parts system.
White bucket, right there. Right there.
What's wrong with it? So anyways, he goes through his parts thing, he sends me a picture, and he's like, is this it? I said, yeah. He said, I got bad news for you.
Uh-oh.
I was like, yeah, exactly. Uh-oh. What's the bad news? They discontinued it. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, they discontinued it. It's no longer available. I was like, all right, well, something's got to replace it. He says, it's not showing up here as something replaced. It's not showing up as a replaced part. So that kind of concerns me because what do you do when you've got a $10,000 replacement sprayer that works wonderfully, by the way, when it works, when you don't break something, and you can't do anything with it? It's absolutely useless as far as I'm concerned. I probably didn't even have to take that off, but anyway, it's useless. If you can't get it, if you can't get parts for it, it's useless. So I said, well, can you call Hardy up and find out what they're saying about the replacement for it? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. I said, well, make sure you give me a call back right away because I gotta know. And he says, well, okay. So he calls and he says, we didn't get into replacements, he said, because they actually, this T is very similar. It's not the same, but it's similar. It has just holes like these holes here to hold the units in place. Because it's like a, you ever play with a cap cellar when you were a kid? I did. But anyways, that holds those in place. Whereas this one here has solid pins that go this way. And then those go over top of there. But it makes a weak point here, and that's what broke.
Yeah.
Where's your shit? You're going to know soon enough that the answer to that question is unequivocally yes. Just a little bit of grease. It don't take much.
Okay.
Ow. That hurt. So anyways, back to Cold Cornstar. I'm not picking on Cold Cornstar, and I don't dislike Cold Cornstar. He has a lot of really good information. He does a really good job with his videos. There's a couple of things I don't like about his video style. One is all the randomness. It's just a clip from here, a clip from there, but that's just not my style, you know. I'm a vlogger, not a movie maker. I do it, technically what I do is a daily vlog. Yeah, see, look how that flow works? It's a gate. So, as it needs more, it opens up as I unwind that thing. See it? So there it is. So through the speed and the flow, the speed sensor and the flow meter that's up on the booms, that sends a signal to this little guy here. Yeah, this little guy right here to say, hey, we need more. Or, hey, we're putting way too much on. Or, hey, I'm broken and ha-ha. Yeah, that kind of a thing. You know the ha-ha? The funny ha-ha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what William's doing out there, do you know?
Yeah, but he's fine, I'm sure.
Well, if he's quiet, he's into something.
He's always into something, Teresa. This is a farm. It is a man's playground. It is a man's playground. When my older children were little, and they had friends that would come over to visit and play, which I was never too keen on for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
Reason one is there's a lot of things that can happen on a farm, as you may or may not know. And I can't take the time to monitor each one of these children while they're here.
Right, of course.
So you kind of, it's that fear factor.
Sure.
You also have to trust your kids enough that they're not going to get into the shotguns and rifles and handguns and things and blow one another's brains out.
Right.
You hope that you taught them well, which they would never do that anyway. But the other thing is that when you did, I can't believe that was that simple. When you did these, yeah, so that goes, it goes like this in there, right?
I don't know.
No, it does, because this goes up against the wall, because here's the screws.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, here's another crazy, stupid thing.
There's a crazy, stupid thing.
There's crazy, stupid things, right? That those are supposed to go in there like that, like this. That's how they go. No, they go like this, so that's not going to work.
Huh.
Because, yeah, the solid pins will go in there. All right. The solid pins will go in there and then it'll work. Right? Yeah. Well, I don't like that, but whatever. Just split the difference.
Where did you get that?
So the other thing that I always had an issue with was when the parents would come to pick up, the kids. You know.
William, throw that away. You might hurt your eyes with that. Well, don't run around with it then.
You know, when a parent comes to pick up the kids, it's
Yeah.
like, come get your kid and get the hell out of here because I got work to do, kind of a thing.
Sure.
And it's like tour to the farm every time. Because here, there's no farming. There's no farm kids around. They're just not here. No farm kids. All right, so that'll work now because then I can do this. Right? And that's how that goes. So let me get these screws. Yeah, so there's no farms around, so these parents, and it's not their fault that it's like this. It's just, they moved to the country, and all of a sudden, their kid is friends with a farmer kid, and the farmer's kid has a father that's kind of interesting, like abstract, and has stuff that they can only see in a magazine, you know? And though my stuff is kind of old compared to some of the other YouTube creators out there, it's still pretty damn cool, you know, right?
Yep.
So, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with parents being curious and wanting to know what their kids are doing when they're here on the farm, but it's not a pain in the ass. So, not all of them either, but there was one woman in particular that would come here to pick up her son, and she was a bitch. She was a bitch. I walked over to her the first time.
Why is she a bitch?
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
The first time I met her, she walked up, or she didn't walk up, she drove up. She never even got out of the car. And her son had been here many times, many times. It was not something new. But her son had been here many times, and I walked up to her and I went to introduce myself to her. You know, like, hi, I'm Wesley, and, you know, your son was very respectful, and he's welcome back here again. And there was one kid I wanted gone. I never wanted to see him on this farm again, because he was a knucklehead. But I don't know, there was other powers that overruled me on that one. I wasn't thrilled about, but he learned how to behave, because you know what? One lonely farmer doesn't take bullshit from little shits. So anyways, I said to her who I was, and I knew her name because the kids had talked about her. And she says, she didn't introduce herself. She says, I know who you are. I've heard about you. I know who you are.
Wow.
I was like, oh, really? I says, I hope it was all good. I hope it was all good. You know how you're friendly to people, you know, and you're like, how dare you talk?
Okay.
I see that. How dare you talk to me like that, you asshole. But,
Okay, I'll tie it.
it's okay. So, anyways, I know who you are. I've heard all about you. And I was like, oh, all good, I hope. And there was no response, like, I was the Antichrist. Well, if you don't like me that much, why'd you leave your kid here? You know, right? Like, really, I'm that big of an asshole, and you think I'm an asshole? Why'd you leave your kid here? But I don't know. Having William is going to be a totally different experience, because you know what? I'm old now. I'm old now, and I just don't give a fuck. I don't give a crap. If somebody comes in and wants the tour to the farm, I'll give it to them once, and that's it, you know.
Hey.
William can take them on the tour. Okay, fine.